Joe, are you ready?
I am rolling.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1251, Feb 22, 2024. 59 degrees on this day in 2017 and 22 below on this day in 1873.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Let's see if I can find it here. I meant to look this up prior to the start of the show. It was written on my notes. And then I put my notes in the wrong spot. Maybe you guys can help me. It's the story of a bearded male calling himself a female playing in a high school basketball game.
Yeah, I saw.
And he literally, no, I'm sorry, Kenny. He demolished one of the opponents.
Injured 3 different players from the other team.
And it just got me thinking, and I'm not finding it right now. Maybe you guys can find it.
I'll have it in just a second.
And it got me thinking, yeah, there's a reckoning coming, people. We can't live like this. You can't live pretending this 6-foot bearded freak is a female.
Our gal Riley Gaines was all over this story over the weekend.
It's just, and the girls on the other team were getting hurt, physically slammed to the court.
Trans-identified male player for Kip Academy in Massachusetts injured 3 girls before halftime, causing Lowell Collegiate Charter School to forfeit.
That's right. They had to end the game because they were trying to preserve their team for the upcoming playoffs.
Here's the best part of her tweet that I saw. This is on February 19th. A man hitting a woman used to be called domestic abuse. Now it's called brave.
Right.
Who watches this and actually think it's compassionate, kind, and inclusive?
It's
perfectly stated.
Where were the parents? How come they didn't rush out and beat the shit out of this dumbass?
You're right. I would have. Mm-hmm.
Give me a break.
A big reckoning is coming. You can't live life like this, pretending this freak is a girl, letting him play on the girls' team, and in the meantime, he's physically destroying the other team.
Kenny, most of the comments echoed exactly what you just said,
including BS.
Including one that said every dad that watched their daughters play against this dude is a coward.
What happened to the feminists of the world? The women that fought for women's rights, the men that fought for women's rights. Why are we sitting by and letting this happen? Did we just give up on women?
I can tell you. You know what it is? People are fearful of the backlash.
Who cares what the backlash is? Screw the backlash.
I agree with you.
Couldn't care less.
All of you, but that's exactly why people were probably afraid to speak up.
A great reckoning is coming, and this is one of the million reasons that there's a reckoning coming. How can you can't send your daughter off to high school and she's going to play on the girls' basketball team and fear for her life if she plays some 6-foot tall bearded freak from the other school.
I'd be in jail. I would be in jail because I would have gone out there and taken care of this.
It's an outrage. It's evil. It's sick. It's part of the Great Reckoning.
This is outrage.
Now, Rook, yesterday, you said something we should have looked up on the spot. We didn't. That's just as much my fault as anyone's. But you were wondering offhandedly, what do school board members make in Minneapolis? What's their salary?
Right.
And it was based, the context was we were talking about the avowed Marxist, what's your name? Callahan? Greta Callahan, who wants to run for a school board seat. She's the president of the Minneapolis Teachers Federation and a kindergarten teacher. And among her quotes when she was leading a strike march last year was, "We are out to get capitalism," or words to that effect. And my paraphrasing is very much on the mark. So she's admitted that she's wishes to undo capitalism. And we were wondering where she wants to run for a school board seat. So I looked it up. It's quite amazing. As of Feb 13, 2024,
Okay.
that's just a week ago. Could have gone up by now. As of Feb 13 last week, the average annual pay for a school board member in Minneapolis is what? Does anyone have a venture a guess?
It's got to be 185 at least.
I did look it up, so I
jeez.
know.
It's $98,105 a year.
Half that.
Yeah. That's $47.17 an hour. That's $1,886 a week, or $8,175 a month.
Time out, though. It's not. The hourly rate would be way higher because they're not working 40 hours a week.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's right.
So now you start putting two and two together. Why would Callahan, who presumably gets paid as the union leader and gets paid as a kindergarten teacher, I think the anti-capitalist wants this gig to make more money while she's an anti-capitalist. Right? I mean,
yeah, how can you argue with that?
she would be taking a big bump over being a kindergarten teacher. I don't think kindergarten teachers yet. They will shortly.
Right.
But I don't think they yet make $98,000 a year in Minneapolis. But here's the other problem with that. This quaint notion that a school board position is part-time is silly.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they do for a living.
Right.
And it attracts activists. So activists can fund their activist lifestyle by getting these public gigs, which are paying full-time salaries annually, including the legislature. When you throw in the per diems and all the other BS they get, no wonder none of them work. This is what they do.
Right.
And here's this avowed anti-capitalist who wants to represent District 6 on the mini, and she'll probably get elected. And so she'll jump from whatever she's making now, she'll jump up to damn near $100,000 a year, not counting the benefits.
Wow.
And the summers off and the whole deal. You know, it's a good gig for an anti-capitalist. It really is.
That wants a raise.
It would be interesting to look into the benefits. The health care, is that paid for? Is that a shared cost, retirement, and et cetera?
Well, Kenny,
because
I think I can help you.
Health
I think I
care
looked it up,
is very expensive.
You checked her out.
In the act of looking up, well, what the hell do school board? And it's got to be close or the same in St. Paul, right?
I'm
so
sure.
Chantil Allen, this fake race baiter, is making a hell of a living being a full-time school board member, has absolutely no idea how to educate a child. None. I don't. Public schools in the Twin Cities are done. They're gone. I know there are a few GL teachers out there. I hate to include you in that mix, but you're walking uphill. You're Sisyphus. You're walking uphill every day, and you're being defeated by layers and layers and layers of DEI administration. It's over. So in the act of looking up the school board salaries, I came across the coronation of the newest super. The Lisa Sales Adams, a niece, I think, of Sharon Sales Belton,
Yes.
right? And who we were fond of.
Yes.
It shows you how rapidly things change. You know,
You're
Sharon
not
Sales she was fun. Oh, okay. She's currently the super of Eastern Carver County Schools, and she has started her Minneapolis job. She started at Feb 5. And she got paid $107,000 to serve in the role as Minneapolis super until the end of June. And then on July 1st, her 3-year contract will begin at $266,000 a year. And then she'll receive a $600 monthly allowance for using her personal vehicle. And her salary for year 3 is set at $276,000. And I'm not begrudging her the money. I guess that's if you're in the super club, that's why it's a great club. You make a lot of dough and you get your car paid for, and I can only conclude safely, Kenny, that the benefits package is equally as handsome.
Yeah, that makes a difference. Benefits. Yep.
I can only conclude it's
a big deal.
As handsome. And so now it's Lisa. It's Lisa Sales. Let me go back to her name. It's Lisa Sales Adams' turn in the super chair. And then she said all of the boilerplate things you're supposed to say about bringing the community together and creating this wonderful situation. No, it's over, because you people have become part of an industry that's failed. It's misled. It's gone down the wrong road, and you continue to double down on it rather than start over. And I wish I could just have great faith in Lisa Sales Adams doing that, but I have no evidence that she would. It's just part of the industry they're in. It's an industry that's wrecked education with their belief that they're improving it by improving the social construct of the way life is lived in America. And what they're really doing is just, they're not educating, they're indoctrinating. And it's a shame. And it's the same with the school board. That's not a part-time job. All of these activists who end up with taxpayers paying them, they have turned these into full-time jobs.
It's not what they were meant to be.
I've never understood on the part of supers that great monthly allowance for vehicles. I've never... She gets $600 a month for using her personal vehicle. That's the super club creating these incredibly great perks.
Well, I got to travel, Joe. I got to drive to this school.
Well,
and
she
that
might
school.
live 3 miles from school or wherever she lives. I have no idea.
You know, that has nothing to do with anything. It's just another great perk.
It's just a great perk.
Yeah, it's like having your own restroom.
You know, and the next super that comes in, that car allowance probably be $800 a month.
Right. They got to update it.
And for $800 a month, hell, you can go buy a new car for less than $800 a month.
Hell yeah.
And have your monthly allowance pay for your new car.
You got to wonder if these benefits weren't as dandy as they are, if they would attract lesser qualified candidates.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean?
I don't count with no offense to her. I'm talking about her industry. I don't hold out any hope that Lisa Sales Adams is qualified. None. I don't count any. Look at this clown in St. Paul who just got Super of the Year award.
Gofford?
Yeah, what a joke. What has he accomplished?
Right.
Nothing.
I've noticed no change from when he started to this day in St. Paul.
These people are isolated. You don't see them. They're not a member of the public. They travel in their own circles. They're followed around by factotums with their iPads, and they pretend that they're doing great work. They don't do anything. Nothing.
Nothing.
And they get paid handsomely to fail.
Kind of sounds like jealousy.
No, not at all. Not at all.
In your long and storied career in negotiating your contract, did you ever look for the old personalized bathroom?
I don't care about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't care about that.
I would do that.
Yeah, me too.
That would be a big deal.
I'd move in.
But just think if you offered some of these benefits to a brand new teacher, new kindergarten teacher, who's just flat broke.
Yeah.
Spent all of their savings and then some on school.
Right.
Finally in the teaching world, they're going to make what, $30,000, $45,000 a year tops. Can you imagine one of those teachers having a car allowance?
No, I can't. They would love it, wouldn't they?
Well, that's the whole joke behind the campaign promises of fully funding education.
It's never fully funded because they keep raising the bar.
Exactly.
They keep changing the goalposts or whatever that saying is. It's
Moving.
just, I don't like to talk about education because I'm comfortable with the fact that we've written it off. There's really, what's the pushback? The pushback, I guess, is for parents to figure out a way to afford to take their kids out of these schools and put them in a place where they might actually have a class that has something to do with math, English, literature, history.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic. These are places now where you go, they're like gulags. You go and you get proselytized. And yes, there are students who come out of there with great education because apparently there are advanced placement classes and places where you can apparently hide from the mayhem. and take an actual meaningful course.
Well, actually, that's what the smart kids are doing in high school right now. They're all taking the college courses, so those kids are going to be successful. It's the other drones that are just going to be left behind.
It's saving them money from secondary education because those classes count
Right.
towards your secondary education.
And on his own, to conclude today's education segment,
Okay.
Biden has just relieved $1.2 billion of student loans.
Such a joke.
I didn't know that he could do this by himself, but we live in a different time. With today's announcement, we are once again sending a clear message to borrowers who had low balances. If you've been paying for a decade, you've done your part and you deserve relief, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said in a statement that was tantamount to appealing for your vote. I added that part. And Jordy says, hey, taxpayers, I've been paying on my mortgage for a couple of decades now. I've done my part.
Yeah.
Are you ready to do yours and cover the rest for me?
That's exactly what I was
That's
thinking.
what this is. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if you look at
But you're changing the very structure of Western civilization.
and I don't think the number is all that big if you look at the number of people that would qualify for this type of forgiveness.
Well, it's $1.2 billion worth of people.
No, but the number of people itself, it doesn't cover that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're saying.
What are the qualifications,
It was,
Chris?
Johnny, did you see? It was, I read it this morning.
153,000 people.
Yeah.
So they'll be canceling debt for borrowers who are enrolled in the SAVE plan, have been in repayment for at least 10 years, and took out $12,000 or less in loans for college.
In how many years?
10.
10.
And in 10 years, they haven't paid back 12 grand.
And that's what
Are
I
you
was
kidding
That's
me?
what I was going to say
How
is
can that be?
if you're in that group, well, you're a moron. If
Well,
You're not, though, because at the age of 4, you would know which gender you should be.
that's true.
Yeah. So you ought to be able to figure out a loan when you're 19.
but I think you guys are missing the larger point that there are people who went to college and they took out a $12,000 loan. 10 years later, they can't pay it off with their college education, their diploma in their pocket. What does that say about their choices in life, the career that they chose, and everything else? My kid went to like a tech school. He had that thing paid off. I had 2 years out of school. It was paid off. And he was working and he was making more than a college graduate was making.
If you borrowed 12 grand 10 years ago, there's no excuse for it not being paid back.
Well,
You can find that in the couch.
That's 120 months, and that would be $100 a month.
$100 a month
Yeah.
would have paid that
Yeah.
off.
no, my point is maybe they're working in their chosen field that they went to school for, but that chosen field pays so low that they really don't have the money when they could have made some different choices. You know, it's the old, what are you going to do? Open up a philosophy shop? It's that old line, you know?
It doesn't, I don't care what they're being paid. That's their problem. It doesn't obligate the taxpayers to step in and pay for them.
Yeah, you're
And
you know
I guess
who
I'm
would-
not being clear.
You know
I'm
who
sorry.
wouldn't have approved any of this? North American Banking Company, that's for sure. I'm not going to do the end.
Oh, I thought you
Oh,
were
right now, perfect time.
I thought you might as well.
Yeah.
That's what we call predatory lending.
Well, the old anti-capitalist needs more money to be an anti-capitalist. And you can get that money being a full-time school board member, which must be a hell of a gig. You know, this Jen McEwen, she's the Duluth state senator involved in, the paint legislation, proposed paint legislation and what have you. And she's involved in a new one now. She's worried that lead in bullets would or shotgun shells would be injurious to health. Apparently, that's not a big deal. Many trap shooting teams have already gone to steal BBs. Is that right, Kenny?
Well, I don't know about trap shooting teams
the
and
bill's
what.
trap for trap shooting.
Well, I don't see why somebody who trap shoot for a living. You're going to have to tell me why this is upsetting to you, because all my buddies, we all practice with steel, but we're not in a league or anything.
Well,
You know, the game ducks, waterfall. We made the switch. It's got to be 30 years ago that we switched to steel.
She, I only bring this up because she is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. And she's telegraphing to us that there's not any corner of life that she isn't willing to stick her nose into. And now it's trap shooting and paint and God knows what else.
Well, I question her motives. I mean, is she doing this because she really truly cares about?
She's probably a very solid. It would be a very solid guess to bet she's just anti-gun, and she's racking her brain to come up with ways to be anti-gun.
That's what it seems
but
like.
She's called a Duluth native. Well, no, she's not. She's from Carbondale, Illinois. But I don't know. I guess the people in Duluth are happy with this. In 2020, she challenged incumbent Senator Eric Simonson for the DFL endorsement in District 7 up in the Duluth area. She won endorsement in the primary with 77%. So I have lost touch with who Minnesotans are. They apparently want this. They want socialism.
Hell no.
Because Simonson wasn't left enough.
I guess not.
I just texted a young trap shooter. I'll wait.
Yeah, I'm really curious.
I'm
really curious, Reavers. I know we've got a bunch of GLers that either are trap shooters themselves in competition or their kids are. It'd be fun to hear